So let's actually do that during the proper intro. Welcome to Overwatch, and welcome to another episode of Coaching the Many. If you're wondering where all the VODs going on YouTube is, and why YouTube's been quiet, it's because I've been doing, like, I've basically more than doubled my stream schedule recently, and then I've just been busy. So sort of YouTube sort of was the first thing to fall to the side, and that's just because, yeah, Muzak is in a civil portrait. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Anyway, sorry. So I basically doubled my stream schedule over the holidays, and then got very tired during the holidays, and so just needed a bit of time off. Hey, Acorn as well. Good timing. Welcome. So that's why YouTube uploads sort of slowed down. YouTube is, it makes me kind of feel bad to say it because I got my start on YouTube. I got sort of, you know, I built myself up on YouTube and then sort of moved to streaming. But YouTube is like the least profitable avenue of what I do. So it's always the first one to sort of fall to the wayside. I'm hoping to do more with it soon, hoping to bring it back, but I always kind of am. But it's always like the first thing to sort of fall to the wayside. And with how I schedule myself, it's like now I wake up, have an hour to do emails and stuff like that, check 1 or 2 bits and pieces, then 4 hours of streaming, 2 hours break, make dinner, eat dinner, watch something on YouTube, just have a break and a breather, and then go back into streaming again for 3 hours in the evening. And by the time that's done, that's 7 hours of streaming, I'm exhausted and tired. So yeah, right. But otherwise, what are we doing today? Today's a little bit different. You might notice that this isn't Coaching the Many, this is Coaching the One, and you can probably see in the top left, I have no aim, I have no brain, and it says under there, starting out as a Tracer main. I want to learn Tracer. This has sort of come off the back of a couple of things. This has come off the back of me being fed up of playing supports. Currently Mercy, this is before Mercy was nerfed, so Mercy is now on the PTR in a nerfed form, but even then it's like, she's just been in the meta. I'm terrible at Mercy, I hate playing Mercy, and playing support currently just feels like you're sort of staring down the barrel of Mercy's gun. You know, that's kind of how it feels. You're just looking down the barrel and going, I don't want to do this, Mercy. I don't want to do this. And then he's like, shut the fuck up, play me. And I hate playing Mercy. I don't want to play Mercy. So what do I do about that? Well, I've got a number of different accounts. We play different heroes on different accounts, and what I've decided to do is start refining my hero pool. Let's start sort of playing through this. I've started refining my hero pool. And occasionally you're going to see like there's me behind me, which is confusing, but try not to be too distracted by it. Sorry, there's not too much I can do about that. So yeah, it's like, actually let's get rid of it. There we go. So basically, because my hero pool is so big, I have a really big hero pool. I've decided to start refining it down, and basically refining it down towards Tracer. Like, I want to be playing Tracer most of the time. Most of my time is going to be spent playing this hero, because she hasn't been nerfed ever. She's been pretty much present in every meta in some form or another. She's generally been viable. And a good Tracer can get a lot of work done. So by improving myself at Tracer, it gives me a good avenue and like a very strong hero to play as a baseline, and then from there I can expand towards Soldier, Widow, and Reaper as sort of the 3 backup picks based on what I need. So Soldier's more my defensive pick, Widow's more my niche pick, and Reaper's more my anti-tank pick. Okay, so that's a good amount of variety. In this game, this is the first placement game of playing on the day. This is the first match that me and Ryan decided to play. This is my first time playing in Season 8, but I've made the decision I'm going to play Tracer, so I've sort of pretty stubbornly gone for Tracer. Like, and I'll just point out right now, first thing you always do, you'll see me do this pretty regularly when I'm in spawn, is just I'll keep checking the hero lineup just to see what we got. The big thing that alarms me, of course, straight away is that we don't have a second tank. Instead, we have a Mei. Mei will be playing an off-tank role. It's actually not as terrible. Like, I was a bit skeptical at first, but then once we rolled out, I understood sort of the logic behind the pick. I still would have preferred like a Diva, because then we actually have a really strong dive. Like me and Genji and Winston can all sort of go on the same target, kill the same target, get a lot done. Now the issue is this is on Europe, and this is playing on a server where communication isn't high prio, and honestly my communication skills in game are not amazing. I'm very good when I'm playing with friends, but when I'm playing with strangers I tend to clam up. I will usually call when stuff is vulnerable, but I won't call too much else. So yeah. Otherwise, yeah, we're going to be opening up. We are running with the Moira. Just Ryan wanted to play Moira. So this is where the logic of the Mei pick comes in. I'm being a bit scared, like being a bit slow to roll out. Honestly, I think that's fine, especially when we have these tanks sort of do stuff. I use the main wall, get into the back line. Okay, time to start being a little bit active. This Roadhog, and one of the things I'll comment on, this Roadhog is very much in my head, and one of the things I think I really need to develop on is my Roadhog versus Tracer. Zuby has some good advice, which is basically you got to try and like bait out the hook with like a double blink. And that can usually work quite well, because what Roadhogs will do is they'll wait for you to blink and then try and get onto you. So if you sort of go back to here, in this case, he hooks, and I think you can see the latency. I think you can see me actually blink, but it just doesn't go. Like, you can see the flash of blue for a second, but still not quite good enough. Luckily, he flops the kill, so I just recall out of it. Otherwise, I want to put a bit of damage in there, but I mostly want to just find an angle around it. Spot out the torp turret, just take that out nice and easy, then start just looking for things to drill damage into. I'm basically just looking for things that are low, things that are vulnerable. I see the Roadhog drops down super low, try and finish that off, and then we're trying to get into the back line, which I managed to do, so I pick off the Junkrat, that's the last source of damage done. I'm mostly just trying to hit what other people are hitting. The Moira gets a very, very fast ultimate. That's purely off the back of them running a Sombra. It's still like, I'm just trying to find whatever my team is focusing on and just focusing on that. And I think at this point, I could have just been a bit more autonomous, rather than just sort of trying to follow this Winston around, and instead just gone into the back line. So instead of just shooting this guy, because honestly, the Genji's done kind of jack shit at this point and isn't helping on the targets that like everyone else is shooting, so I might as well just go into the back line here and start doing damage back here instead of going onto the Roadhog, which is what I end up doing. I try and go for a cheeky pulse bomb. Whiff it, feels bad. We'll talk about pulse bombs probably more later on. Does work out though. Their team just lacks the sort of healing over time, but it took us way too long to kill that Roadhog. That Roadhog should have died much earlier. This I'm actually quite happy about, which is just ranging forward, spotting out this target, kill the target. I could have gone for a melee there, but I think it was just slightly off. Meleeing as Tracer is something that I need to also develop. Twitch play isn't the greatest, but hey. Like, I mean, the aiming overall seems okay, but you see it's just higher than the melee kill threshold, so I just wait for the reload and just go for the left click instead. I think I was okay doing that. Otherwise, my job here, I think, like at this point, what I'm considering is basically I just want to get in here and just force them onto the point. Because victory condition, if you aren't aware, for Horizon Lunar Colony, is you generally try and get something strong set up on the high ground and then shoot downwards. So if I can just put a little bit of pressure onto the point, I can get a lot of work done. You notice that they're all suddenly baited onto the point and a lot of damage comes through. Junkrat just fucking nails me though. Like this is sort of this is something that I warn other people about, and it's something that I end up doing. So this is sort of a good demonstration of this, which is blinking into the team. And I blink into the team and I just blink straight into the Junkrat and just die straight away, which makes a lot of sense. So yeah, Mercy does pick me straight back up. I have a pulse bomb, but by this point I already feel like the fight's kind of over. This is where I started to sort of feel annoyed. It's like this Zarya's been running around for ages and still somehow has personal barrier, and that really irritates me. Like, the stick was good, but you'd expect in that point that the Zarya wouldn't have it, and I think I just need to err on the side of caution with Zarya's, but by this point I think that the fight's already over anyway, so it was kind of bad. Is it a waste of the bomb? Honestly, I'm quite liberal with them, and you'll see in this game I build quite fast with them. And he's just burning the healers down. Like, honestly, Moira's self-heal on Coalescence is annoying, but honestly, there's no better target really for me available. Once the Zarya comes out, okay, we've got the barrier, just going to take my time, reload. Once Zarya's barrier's down, I'm going to start bullying the Zarya. I actually really like Tracer versus Zarya, but unfortunately the Rat comes back, starts causing problems. Sombra's also going to be stalling on the point. And this is where it feels like the DPS focus just isn't there. Like, the big issue I had in this fight, and let's just run through it at like half speed. This might be a shot calling thing, this might just be that me and this Genji were not on the same wavelength at all. That's at least how it felt to me, was like, the targets that I'm shooting at, no one else is shooting at. So, we get the Mercy, great, okay. And then it's like, there's just this Moira coalescing on the point. It's like, why is she still alive? Like, we just need to kill this bitch. And it's like, my question is like, why is Genji away for so long? For so long, he's just not there. We go in, they manage to get the follow-up kill in there. Genji's still above, Genji's above, Genji's above, Genji's above, and it's like, come on, man, we need you here. Like, a dash now would make a huge amount of difference. He's sub 50. Still nothing, and then Genji suddenly appears, and it's just like, come on! And otherwise I spot Zarya doesn't have a personal barrier. This is where shot calling would make a difference of, like, Zarya no personal. Aiming there is a little bit sloppy, it's easy to judge at half speed, but This is where I feel like no one else is shooting at that target, and it's like, okay, well, why am I wasting my time shooting at this Zarya? Mei finally swaps, and it's like, why does it feel like the Mei is my DPS partner here? Spot the rat is the key target. By this point, I'm sort of nervous. The reason why I recall there, why did we recall here? It's because he comes out of the barrier. That's why. So just fighting, recall just as he comes out the barrier, just because I want to get away from him. Mercy tries for a res, dies, and then we can just finish off the Junkrat in our own time. See in chat, you recall too late. Recalling for the health there, I don't think would have made a huge difference. Like, once both of those healers were dead and we couldn't finish things up fast enough, we had problems, basically. But again, this feels like a misalignment of the DPS, where we have, like... And this is also where I struggle on this map on Tracer, I'll just say that much. But yeah, it feels like the Mei is my DPS partner when it should be the Genji, and I can never, like, judge what the Genji's doing. This is where Sombra gets a good hack off on me, and then I just end up dying. So at this point, my team should be playing a little bit slower, and just sort of biding the time. They managed to push out on the high ground, but this is where Genji draws Dragon Blade, and starts going in. And I am, like... confused, to say the least, because Genji's just drawn Dragon Blade and gone in after I've died. And it's like, we could have used that when we really, really needed it, but he's just decided to go for it. Gets the Mercy, but dies, and it's just like... Their Sombra just comes in on the backline and kills everyone. Now, the mistake partially is mine, just of dying here. Like, I should not die here. It's just I wasn't anticipating the Sombra, and then the moment she starts hacking, it's already kind of too late. I should have maybe recalled straight away just to try and break the hack, and then blink out, but yeah. You get a bit of volume on. So now I'm back in. I decided not to pulse bomb the D.Va. And the reason why is because this fight already seems to be done. Like, I'm blinking in and I'm already thinking, okay, well, we're not probably going to do this. Like, 2 people are dead. I'm just going to try and demech. Yeah, so you can hear me mumble. I'm going to try and demech the D.Va. Decide it's not worth staying in anymore. Just back out, try and reset. A little bit of free damage. See if I can find something to bomb, but yeah.
I could play Zen, but I don't think it'd be much better.
No, it wouldn't. That was just a... like, the Genji went in after I died. So otherwise now it's waiting for the next push. Winston goes in deep, I go in to follow him, and end up pulse bombing myself and the Junkrat. This is just me trying to follow up on what the Winston's trying to do. And not sort of being cautious enough about traps. But I think the Winston's sort of over-engaged. Like, the Winston's dropped his bubble and then dived into the back line. So already this push is off to a bad start. Like, I would not say that's a strong start. And then boom. So we can't ask questions or only if they're about TRACER. It's because I'm mostly focused on the game that I won't be reading questions too often. I'll occasionally manage to get to them. We did manage to get the rat at least. Rat gets rezzed. A spot where the Mercy is, we swap target as quickly as possible, go on the Mercy, get a good amount of damage on Mercy, finish Mercy off with Frost, with the Blizzard. Put pressure on the Tracer, count out the self-destruct, recall through it. And again, this is where, like, the DPS focus just doesn't feel in place. Like, this might still be when we had the Genji. We might have swapped to a McCree by this point, I'm not sure. No, we still have a Genji, and it's like... During all of this time, I do not see where the Genji is, at all. There he is. So I spot him fighting the Tracer, I help with the Tracer where I can. Okay, D.Va gets back into the mech. Winston's hitting D.Va. Slightly irritating, but... Let me just finish that up. Start capping, Mercy comes back out with Valkyrie. And I go straight back onto the D.Va, but I... Ugh. Maybe should have gone for something else there. The thing with D.Vas when they come back from reses is you can normally, if just everyone just focuses them, you can normally just kill them in baby form before they get back into a mech. I'm also too low, so I should have probably recalled here. So I'm not watching my own hit points. Like, I take a chunk of damage. What damages me?
Oh, let me kill up.
Moira. Moira's attacking me, and I don't notice. So I just go down. Dying with recall, that is bad. Basically.
We just get beat by burst, really.
And this is where I swap to soldier. We swap to soldier and just gun and everything. The reason why I swap to soldier is it's much easier to win with Soldier 76, and especially with how the enemy team is defending, this is just easy as you like. Like, if you're playing Tracer, don't blink towards the Soldier 76 who still has rockets in a straight line. Seriously. Go down the heal field just because I expect that I'm going to be fighting there for a little while, so I'm going to get some good damage onto the rat so we can start pushing forward. And honestly, like, I do not want to leave this high ground. My plan is just to stay up here and just to build an ult and kill people. And you can see how effective this is. Like, this is how you win Horizon, guys. You see they're all so busy on the point that no one is paying any attention to me. I can just take my time and just line up my shots slightly. And it's so easy. It's like, isn't this bizarre how straightforward and easy that is? And that's how you win on that map. I don't know if you could play issues. Right. We'll probably go through multiple different games. So this one, I fuck up on this one.
Not asking somebody else to play support, you're asking them to play mercy.
So I'm experimenting here. This is me experimenting. This is me trying something out and seeing how it works. So I wanted to try an aggressive position, and like get as much damage as possible. I see the hook, and then suddenly the Tracer's like there, straight a fucking way. I didn't even see her go through. But she just goes straight for me, and I don't even notice and just get drilled. It was a nice finish by their Tracer as well, to get me down mostly, and then just melee to finish. A nice little DPS cap off. This is where our Mercy proceeds to throw by going up and trying to res me, and then like failing the dash. So watch Mercy. You got there quick. Floats up and then fails to connect the dash and just dies. Oh my god, what is Mercy doing? No. Why would you do that? And that's the end of like the defense straight away. If you are playing Mercy, ladies and gentlemen, if you're playing Mercy, don't go and res a Tracer. She gets back nice and quickly.
And also, you have situations like that where people feel forced to play Mercy and can't play.
And like that, I think she took the high ground and then blinked all the way to you back. I don't think so. I don't think she would have been able to do that without me seeing it. For God's sake. This player is not the easiest to... Come on, Twitch, please.
I think she needs taking out the game to a point where she's just not played so...
Scroll across. Like, we would have seen her go across this way. I think she just went through and just like... She just must have used all 3 blinks to get up to me. It's just weird that I didn't hear her.
You have situations like that where people feel forced to play Mercy and can't play.
I got back, managed to kill the Zenyatta, points already lost, swapping to Soldier, just for a little bit more long-range defense. This is where I started tilting like crazy, I think. Maybe in the second half. So defending Horizon, much like taking Horizon, you just try and set up on the high ground. My entire sort of decision behind staying up here is just to try and put a rocket onto something as they come through the door. But what I really don't want to have to do is cede the high ground, and yet we have to, because, like, remember what I was doing when I was playing Tracer? Remember on the first attack, I literally made it my priority, even while we were still capping A, I went to B and just went to the low ground on B and just tried to stay on the point. And the reason why I wanted to do that is to pull as many people down from the high ground as possible and just get everyone to the point in a big brawl. Enemy team does exactly the same thing, and you'll notice that it works, because I'm now the only one on the high ground, I'm completely isolated, and then they just commit ultimates and kill me. And then now, on the defense, we're trying to deal with a Junkrat on the high ground uncontested, both supports die to the ult, and it's like, a Winston is now trying to chase a Junkrat off the high ground. It's not ideal at all. And then at this point, it's just already over. Like, there's no way I can get to the point here.
that was quick.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm messing with that ground with me, so... Gox. Okay, scroll forward. So now we have the Hanzo instead of having the Genji. You are an it's that Northern Blood. Keep scrolling forward. There we go. Okay. So again, you'll see when I leave the spawn, first thing I do, press tab, check my team lineup, think about how it's going to go. So we actually have a tank line this time. So basically, I'm mostly like thinking in this pairing, where it's me and the two tanks finding targets. Hanzo should just be trying to find picks, and then it's just a little bit of incidental damage coming from Moira, healing coming from Mercy. And Mercy should be making all the difference in terms of ultimates and stuff like that. Ryan swaps off to Zen, just to provide an orb. Just take my time. And I go the same route as before. My job here is now just to cause a little bit of disruption, wait for the tanks to get in position. Really nice opening by Ryan, just to get a quick kill. This, honestly, I think that blink is too aggressive. I think that blink was just too blind, where I just blinked straight in and don't even look. I should have spent a moment just to check, and maybe gone on the Junkrat instead of the Moira. I mean, it worked out because the distraction sort of buys time for Hanzo to line up a shot, but yeah. Now I'm just looking for opportunities to sort of slow their Tracer down, or to get damage on whatever's discorded. This Roadhog just drills me twice, like... I blink back and I take a right click, and then just a left click. Like, that right click fucking nails me. This guy... just gets me. And it's not even, like, hooked. It's just shot. Maybe I should have blinked through him. Might have worked better. It's more I wanted to try and protect people from their Tracer and shut down their Tracer, but I should probably be being more proactive and just trying to slow the Roadhog down while doing damage. Seems to be going fine anyway, so I'm just taking my time, spot the Junkrat out, coming back in. You'd be low, she'd be finished up in a second, trying to stop Sombra hacking. She managed to do it during the reload, but she's just feeding ultimate at this point. So similar to the first time, I want to just move forward, just poke around, have a look. I'm looking to try and get a bomb onto the Lucio more than anything. I ended up sticking it on the Tracer, she just recalls it. The reason why I did that was I was actually paranoid about, you see this sort of detritus on the floor? So I'm just going to pause it here. I actually thought that was a Junkrat trap. So I blinked, so I jumped through and I expected to be stuck. And I was just like, fuck it. And then I just get focused down and died. Like, I should have just backed out. The drop down here was just stupid. I should have just blinked it back and left at this point. I don't know why I dropped down there. It's okay, I wanted to switch anyway, because this is a lot stronger. At this point I make the decision to swap to Soldier, because I know how effective it is and how well it worked last time. Roadhog comes out from spawn, just puts a hook on me. Just gets knifed back, doesn't make too much of a difference. Again, this is sort of the problem of, like, where's the DPS? Managed to just put enough pressure onto the rat to sort of make him make a mistake. Looking at the Lucio now. But because there's nothing else, like, helping out with the DPS, there we go. Finally, Hanzo comes in from the high ground. So Hanzo's trying to do what I was doing as Soldier, but because he's Hanzo and not Soldier, it's just a little bit less consistent. Where basically you just get onto that high ground and just rain death from above. Ryan's doing it now, playing Zen, where he can just stay on that high ground and just put damage on stuff. It's super nice. Put the bomb down because I think Moira might land on it, but she doesn't, and that's because she has the move speed buff. So I need to consider that more when I'm trying to put bombs on stuff. It's just, hey, it doesn't matter if, like, that would kill a Zenyatta or an Ana, but it won't kill Moira when she's using Coalescence. The random Hanzo, for fuck's sake. And then yeah, they pick up a Hanzo out of nowhere and just headshot, well, scatter me coming out of spawn. Not something you can really prepare for, so that doesn't bother me too much. Just because, like, who the fuck expects a Hanzo to come out of spawn when they're trying to stall? Who picks Hanzo to stall? Just decide to build some ult charge a little bit here, just using the Moira stuff. I see that the Roadhog wants to try and get onto the high ground, so I just want to try and deny him and make it uncomfortable for him to try and hook that location, because if I can get up here, then great. Otherwise, I'm just trying to put pressure on the rat. Rat goes above me and then double bombs me. This is me fucking up though, like, this is what I would call first game of the day syndrome. It's like I see him go up and I don't follow it well enough. So this is just bad by me. Like, I should be tracking this better. Fucking rats! He just gets above me and then just bombs me to death.
Oh god, Mr. Muso.
Our Hanzo was fighting Roadhog and losing from low ground. It's just Hanzo. I sprint back to low ground, which is an interesting decision from me. Could probably have gone high ground. I think I just want to get onto the point and help with stall. Yeah, that's why. I can't get on it. And then... Ugh. Ugh.
Oh. The reason why I complain about the Mercy is that she flew...
And we'll go through a couple of games. Don't worry. Like, if we're blitzing through this one, it's because I know my own decisions, I know my own sort of rationale. And so because we're running with the Orisa, I'm going to play more from the point, especially playing Soldier as well. It's just stronger from the point. Do want to focus on Tracer, so we'll get through this pretty quick. Just raining out some damage. Putting rockets on stuff. Putting damage and stuff to just, like, I want to just punish the Junkrat for trying to stay there and just hammer down. Just hammer out his damage. Going to try and help the supports a little bit. Hanzo whiffs a scatter. This is where it starts getting awkward. And this is sort of where my issues with Hanzo sort of start manifesting, because it's like... I now feel like I'm trying to defend from two different angles. I'm trying to deal with this Roadhog, who partially gets walled off, and then trying to get back here straight away. And I've said this before and I'll say it again, like, this is a concept that happens in Overwatch a lot, which is where if you don't focus on one objective, if you instead try and focus on like doing 2 or 3 all at the same time, you're just going to sort of suck at all of them. And that's kind of what I end up doing here, where it's like, okay, well, we come back here to try and fight the Roadhog, but the Roadhog's just backed off, and now they come in on this side and just sort of pull in. And it becomes so difficult of like, I'm trying to deal with this threat coming in from behind, and then trying to get back on the front line, deal with the front line, where I should have just let the Mei just fuck around with the Roadhog and probably just stay on the front line, but then Orisa moves her barrier as well, so it just feels like the team is just not synergizing at all. I should have probably just stayed on the front and just helped try and keep the main team back. Again, just standing here because I want to just catch them through as they come through the door. Like, all I'm looking to do, I'm not looking to do too much, is to keep an eye out for the Tracer. Turns out she's going to come this way. Hanzo's putting a couple of arrows in, so I'm a bit nervous. This is where I expect, hey, oh, Orisa. I drop off by mistake, but spot the Tracer, so it's not too bad. Otherwise, I just want to get back up to high ground. That was an honest mistake of me dropping down. The issue I have is now, like, Orisa drops down, and I don't know why Orisa dropped down. Like, we need to be defending from up here, and we don't. And there's just so much shit being launched at me, and with no tank in front, that I can't actually deal with it. And it's like, why is McCree there?
Yeah, all I'm saying is...
Like, he gets the flash, and he kills the Hanzo, but it's just, like... They've taken high ground. Like, we are in a lot of trouble here. Try and use the pillar for line of sight, but we have to use, like, 3 ultimates just to clear this off. Spot her out, just want to finish her off a little bit. I don't really care about her charging her ultimate, so I just take my time with this.
Easy clap.
Easy clap, indeed. Right. And then try and get set up on the high ground again. So I'm for high ground. And again, this is where I end up wondering, like, why is Orisa down on the low ground? Like, what scares me about this is, like, if they just get Roadhog and Junkrat on the high ground and just stay up there and shoot down, we are screwed. We are so screwed. This Tracer has a habit of doing this, of just, like, blinking forward. Just blinks into the rocket. You notice that I'm staying very far back, that's just because I'm afraid of the Roadhog. Got them on the low ground, just keeping an eye on it. Also very pointedly keeping my camera in a position where I can see this door and this door. Like, I don't want to turn away from this door. Watch out for the Hanzo. This is a Tracer looking for a pulse bomb, in my mind. There it is. Just wanted to make sure that I didn't get caught on it. And then eventually the Hanzo gets me. Mercy picks me back up, Hanzo hasn't noticed, easy kill. Okay. And again, you notice that, like, if they're on the low ground and you're shooting at them from the high ground, it's so easy. It's so easy. As long as I can keep control up here.
What's the highest this I've ever been? 3.8?
It's so easy.
Went on like a 16 win streak, me, Miska, and missed. And Iron as well, it was a 4-stack. Back when 4-stacks were good, that was like season 4. But that was a Ryan Central. I need to play Ryan Central more.
But this is where like the spam just starts getting overwhelming. Like I'm getting Moira spam, getting Junkrat spam, getting Hanzo spam. I have to drop away, and then Hanzo just catches me. I don't know why we're defending from the low ground. And it's like I still to this day do not understand why Orisa is where she is. I try and back off, trying to heal myself up, but like I'm just out in the open, so I'm just gonna die. It doesn't matter if Mercy heals me; they're just gonna focus me down. And it's like, Orisa, like, what's Orisa going to do from the low ground? This is sort of my question, is like, what's the Orisa going to do from there? She's not actually being an effective tank, because she can just sort of stay there, but the enemy team's just going to break her barracks down and just spam her to death.
Oh, I can't touch it. Oh, that's unlucky. I just fucking killed them both.
And then this is where, like, Ikota gets very, very salty about, oh, why did you just jump on the point? It's like, this is fucking done. Anyway, oh god, that's a very big face. Move on to the next game. This is when we move to NA. So after that game, Ryan said, oh, but I want to play on NA because I'm fed up of playing with people who don't talk.
Sorry, I haven't got it enabled. I don't know what I'm doing.
Could have been Winston instead of Orisa? Yeah. Like, Winston would have worked. If you're playing Orisa, you just stay on the high ground though, and it works fine. You just pull people around the corner. Yeah, like we.
I could play Orisa, but yeah. From let's try.
So this is where we're playing on about 100 ping.
Yeah, I'll keep orb on you, Winston. Just go nuts.
First point Dorado, I generally like to just take the back route, take the flank, and then try and find an angle.
Go.
Waiting for my opportunity. Been spotted by the McCree, tanks jump in, and I just get nailed. Like, this honestly is probably my bad more than anything. Like, I should have been blinking here. I have 3 blinks and I'm not using them. Just I'm worried about, like, I'm just worried about where I can blink to, and I probably should have just blinked to the bubble. And then gone on the Zen. Instead of just trying to run up where the McCree just shoots me. So I think that's just me fucking up on that one. And I think I played Soldier for most of this game, so we're probably just going to skip through it. For the next one. I think this is where we swap to playing with Miska. So let's just go on to this one, because I want to focus on the Tracer. Like, Soldier, I'm not too worried about my decision making. I generally feel pretty happy, and Soldier's pretty simple. Tracer's a lot more complicated. So in this one, I've opted to try and start here. It might actually be better. Like, ideally, I think Junkrat should be starting here, and I think I should be starting on the opposite side, like around here. And then just playing around here, and then blinking up and away if I need to. I think that might work slightly better. Just staying in here is too easy for them to just come in and then just block the hotel off.
Welcome to Overwatch.
That might work slightly better. Hey, Sorio 8. Thank you. I'm gonna go with Sorio, like an Oreo, but it's a bit sore. Right. Get some good damage out. The Roadhog's caught in a trap, so I just wanted to get some damage on him, but I don't want to eat a right click. Just waiting for the health pack. Swap the Mercy out, get some damage, get behind the pillar, and then just try and keep pressure on that Mercy. Spot the Divas very low on the point, so just try and finish her off, but that lets Mercy just... lets Widow just nail me. The question is, this is where I need to think about what the other DPS is doing more. So I probably should have just stayed on the Mercy, instead of swapping onto the Diva here. The reason why I swapped onto the Diva is because I thought that I was expecting this Diva to just, like, a grenade to just bounce in and just kill her. You see she almost dies pretty much straight away. Alright, So here, like, the point's gone. I have no interest in trying to contest. I'm not going to try and stall here. I just want to build up a pulse bomb and do a little bit of, like, just put some pressure on them. Maybe pull 1 or 2 people away. And I think I succeed in pulling the Roadhog off, so to speak. This is where I want to deny Widow any space. What's kill feed on attack? Do you mean on our attack or on theirs? This is where I just want to try and deny the Widow. I was tempted to go for a bomb here. I just decided to blink through instead and go for the bomb anyway. I was pretty confident the moment I saw this that I could probably bomb one of them. And I should have probably just bombed at this point. Like, I was 99.9% confident that I could bomb either of these two, just by throwing forward here. Because both of them are going to react by pushing back. So if I just bomb, like, towards this direction, then it's pretty much guaranteed to hit one of the two. Why bomb? You don't gain any ground because it denies Widow any space. Like, letting Widow sit up here uncontested is bad. So I wanted, ideally the Widow would have died up here, instead she drops down, which means Mercy just reses her. If Widow died up here, Mercy wouldn't be able to res her, or I managed to stick the Mercy and Mercy dies, and then they can't push anymore. And bombs are free, so why not bomb? Like, you'll see me build these bombs extremely quickly. But I'm mostly just here just to make sure that Widow has no free space, ever. Now that we get slight advantage, I'm going to start pushing that advantage. That's a scary noise.
Also, but I realized as well with both these supports is
I activate Valkyrie, so I just back off. Don't try and do too much. Trying to get a free bit of damage here and there, and then the Widow just nails me. I think this is just me being a little bit too cocky against like 3 hit scan. I should just back off. I'm just trying to build another pulse bomb. And I think this is where I swap to try and deal. No, I think I stay on Tracer. I think I swapped to Genji towards the end of this to deal with the Widow. This is where I spot Miska, who's desperately trying to run away. This is me more clowning than playing properly. Just trying to help Miska get out, but then he's just sort of backed in. But I've actually ended up in an okay position here. Like, you can see, I almost get the Soldier, managed to finish him off. Good. Like, this is me trying to be proactive. Spot that the Mercy's trying to get res around the corner, try and bomb around the corner, just flub it. This is just me sort of aiming badly. Because what I was looking to try and do was get the Mercy. Because the bomb would launch out and just connect to the Mercy here, who's trying to res. And I knew where she was resing from, so this is just poor aim by me. If I delayed a second or two longer, I might have been able to get the Soldier instead. I'm honestly just trying to stall here more than anything. Moira's just keeping me alive, praying for blinks, and then get stuck in the back line. I need to get out of this tunnel as soon as possible. I think I just need to get out of this tunnel faster. And then, yeah. That tunnel was just a death trap. Let's swap this up. So this is when I swap to Soldier, because basically the issue I'm running into is I've got 3 hit scans all shooting at me non-stop. And so it's just like I can't get anything done in that situation. So I'm just trying to gain ground as Soldier and just trying to buy space for my tanks so that my tanks can push forward and reinforce this position. Ends up working out. Ryan lands a beauty of a fire strike. This is where I overestimate how long Ryan's barrier is going to last, because it just goes down pretty much straight away. And then there's no chance. Ryan could have brought that, like, Ryan could have spotted that I'm hooked and just brought the barrier up a little bit more aggressively. Just to try and give me a little bit of space. And once I get hooked here, like, the barrier comes up just a touch too late. Enough time for Widow to get the follow-up and get the kill. Needs to be one hell of a riptide, but there's a Widow just waiting for it.
See ya, soldier!
Welcome to Overwatch, Monstly.
Hey!
Oh, I love this. It'll help me analyze my own vids. If I'll ever remember to start OBS XD.
It's worth doing. It's worth sort of going over and going, huh, why did I do that? This is where we're just desperately trying to claw for ground. Thank you, by the way, Envy Love. Envy Love 3. Envy Louvre, maybe. Who knows? But yeah, this is like... This is where the game's gone to the shitter. This is where I realised that, you know, Junkrat is not going to be able to deal with the Widow. Roadhog certainly can't, so it's like... If you can stall, I have a ult. I think I just try and come out here with the visor. D.Va can stop me for a couple of seconds, but I can get a lot done. That said, it pulls like 4 people away, and this is where I was sort of Like, they have to make a decision, right? They can either get a shitload of resources and damage on me, and so I'm coming out of this flank, the rest of my team's coming out the opposite flank. I just wanted to shut down this Widow, because if you give Widow space to... Jesus. Twitch player. If you give Widow a lot of space, it's just too easy for her, so I just want to sort of put pressure on her. Oh god, McCree just came for me. But it's meant my team can actually get into position. And then this is where I swap to Genji just to get out faster. Just for a faster rollout, and I'm able to more mobile, able to deal with more threats. And if it starts going our way, like the snowball makes all the difference. I expected a flashbang there, it never came. Just trying to get damage onto stuff, like... I'm praying that this Junkrat lands something at some point and just starts killing things, which is sort of what ends up happening now. Is he finally gets onto the Mercy, goes for a very bold Riptire, dies instantaneously. Nice to demat the D.Va, just stalling, just playing around the back of the point because I don't want to get widowed, and then as the
Welcome to
Barry comes up, can be more
Monthly.
aggressive. Thank you, Aaron Lynn, as
Don't
well.
want a Twitch baby. Can I have a Twitch kitten instead?
I would rather have a Twitch kitten as well. I don't want a baby. Well, I wouldn't know what to do with a baby. A kitten sounds friggin' amazing, though. So this is just me trying to put pressure on that Widow and just trying to keep her back. Because the Shurikens were already in, I decided to commit, go for it. Because the Mercy's there, I decided to commit even harder. This was... I knew it was greedy when I was drawing it. Is this push in my... Like, this push is partially done, but there's a chance that they could just go aggressive. And with how the game's been going, I figured that I wanted to put the nail in the coffin here, but this is, I think, over bold. I do have deflect if I need it, and then Winston comes in to help out, but... And then once the Mercy's dead, I just back out. Like, there's no point trying to hunt down that D.Va at all. I'm just looking to put some damage out, rebuild the blade, and get ready for the next push. This is one thing I've been working on, by the way, with my Genji play, is trying to make sure I'm using left click properly, and using left click to get as much damage as possible. I used to over-rely on right clicks. D.Va launches a bomb. Soldier, I think, goes for sight, so I just try and block what I can. Manage to get the kill. But there's Mercy. Spoil Sport Brigade. And get stuck in a corner with this Roadhog. I don't really want to leave the Roadhog there, but I have to basically start playing tank. In my mind. Because our main tank is dead, and Miska's off dealing with like another threat on the flank, so I just try and block what damage I can. Hit the isolated target. Still worried about what that Roadhog's doing, though. I should have been keeping my eye on that Roadhog. We get the Nano Boost going out. So I just decide to commit. Messi goes for a greedy res. She manages to get the Widow off, which, like... The fact that that res goes through is kind of bullshit, right? Like, come on. He's dead and it still goes through. Whatever. At this point, it's kind of just done. Once the Mercy's dead, this push is kind of over, so I'm just backing off again, trying to regroup, heal up, build for the next ult. This is a rush of blood to the head moment. Waiting on Junkrat. Waiting on Junkrat to land a hit. Anytime? Nope. Nope. Derp.
I like it for how much you can just... Well, the fact that it just ignores shields and still like just good all around. Feels like you can use it in so many ways. It's like I've demat this D.Va so many times. I am getting it.
So D.Va's demaxed, trying to block what ults I can, trying to just make sure I'm staying behind the payload because High Noon's gone off, so I need to just stay behind there. Spot the Mercy gets isolated. Get some good damage on her, but there's just nothing to follow up. It basically puts the Mercy so much on the back foot that she has to back off anyway, so we can just clean up the tanks. Soldier activates Visor, I block what I can, and then just stay in the Coalescence Beam until I can get to the back line. Roadhog fucks up, and then doesn't get to the point, which is nice. Right, back to Tracer. Thank you! Woo! That's like acerbic way possible. Yeah, skip forward. What's in the box? What's in the box?
I need to...
See, my space is not there.
I need to
So,
a habit of just...
basically, now I know that I have 2 dive tanks, so I know that me, Miska, and Ryan, this is Miska by the way, no scope, are all going to be trying to do the same thing. And that we can kind of control what's happening. They have a Torbjorn, they have an Arisa. So all I'm thinking is just, okay, well, if I can get behind this, then I can sort of get set up. Now, because I know Miska and Ryan can go pretty deep, I want to try and get into a position where I can go deep as well. So I think I'm honestly fine doing what I'm doing now. I think the Torbjorn tries to follow, and then when the tanks go in, I go in. Is the effective coordinated dive. Mercy... How did Mercy die? What? Okay. Torp turret just guns me down. This is where I get tilted at the Junkrat. Like, this is not what I wanted to see when I opened up my kill feed. I think he's actually fighting the Reaper. Like, there's a Reaper floating around somewhere, and I think he's just trying to sort of siege out where Reaper was or something, or just stop the Reaper coming up behind. But it just tilted the shit out of me of like, why is he not in with the team?
He's so low. He doesn't even have armor. How is he alive? How is the Torbjorn?
And then this is where my incompetent team struggles killing a Torbjorn, so I just go in and finish it off. Queenie suggested that we follow you. Glad I listened. Thank you for following. And Queenie's a lovely person for doing that. Let's see. Okay. So this is, again, like, point is being taken, but I don't want to be stuck on the point. I want to be trying to take space, take ground, so this is what I'm looking to do. Got the Reaper. This is a bit of a risk, but I managed to land a good shot. And, like, this is the sort of, the aim that I want to get better at. This is a good point to sort of slow it down. It's going to suddenly just jump forward. Brace yourselves, boys. Okay. Now let's do this properly. So this is the kind of situations where I want to really knuckle down on my aim, because this should have been a dead Reaper, really. Or near enough. Like, you can see, we managed to get quite a lot of damage done. He engages at this point, which is sort of, I'm okay with. Because if he's back here, he's not bullying our tanks. He tries to wait around the corner, double blink to get through. I should get out of this tunnel, to be honest. Although, if, like, you can see he's trying to close in, but I just back away. Then as he backs off, I go, okay, well, you can try fighting in the front line, but I'm in the back line. Once I see that this Reinhardt's low, blood is smelt. And I want this Reinhardt. Get through, bomb on. Recall out to dodge the bomb. Reinhardt's dead. Where Ryan explodes. I kill the only thing that we can kill at this point, which is the turret, so I just want to get rid of the turret. Mercy goes for the res. I'm just going to back out at this point, because there's no point me fighting in the Transcendence, so... Like, I'm okay with the decisions made there.
Junkrat is so inconsistent. I'm annoyed if there's one on red team or blue team.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating. This is where the Torbjorn really starts fucking me up. And I think this is, yeah, this is where, like, Ryan gets nanoed, so he just friggin' goes for it. Like, I think this was what I would call a defensive nano, because Ryan's jumped in, he's dropped a half straight away, so Anna's panicked, nanoed him, and Ryan's panicked at the same time and pressed Q. And then, yeah, now he's like a nano-roided monkey, and that's bad. Thank you, Rio Jellyfish, by the way. It's appreciated. 2 months. Oh, awesome. This turret is a big problem for me. I need to just rely on the Junkrat. Now, because I have 2 dead, I can afford to sort of slow down at this point. And I think this is... Like, at this point, like, this movement here, if you're curious, you see me just sort of take a couple of steps towards the stairs. I'm actually considering, at this moment, whether or not I should go round and up and try and pick off the turret. Just, like, corner snipe the turret. I decided against it because I figure I can just put a shitload of damage in the back of Reinhardt. Reinhardt gets slept, I just go in for the kill, rather than just wait for his team to reinforce him, and then that's sort of the end of this push. I'm going to go and harass the Reaper. Again, if the Reaper's fighting me, he's not fighting the tanks, and that's honestly good for us. And then with the Junkrat here, I let Junkrat take one side, I try and take the other. Lock down the Reaper, okay. People call out that the Hog is out of position, so I decide to sort of hunt him down. I won't follow him into the corner though, and now it's just trying to push them off the point to make sure they can't contest. This bomb was stupid, and I knew it was stupid the moment I did it. I don't know what this bomb was. This bomb was just a rush of blood to the head. Like, that was terrible. Don't do that. This is where we need the scrub. What do you ult with Nano? No, the Winston ulted about the same time Nano went off. So what I'm assuming in that case is that the Winston just ulted. The Winston was worried he was dropping low, Anna was worried that he's dropping low. Anna presses Q for the damage reduction, and Winston ults to try and stay alive. So you just end up with the Nano ulting Winston, which is bad, as you have rightfully understood. Like, Ryan knows that Primal Rage Nano is terrible. Ryan knows this for a fact. What, the Zarya out? Just gonna play around with the Zarya a little bit. This is a Zarya that's, I think, hungry for a grab. She has Orb on, so I probably should have disengaged a while ago, to be honest. I should have spotted the Orb and just sort of gone, no, this isn't worth it.
We've got some synergy going on here.
Once the personal barrier is gone, but then, yeah, Death Blossom drops in above. And I just exploded. See the Reaper going to high ground, but I don't want to fight Reaper in like a small, narrow corridor. That's just not good for me. And then, yeah, Junkrat just spams around the corner, and I just eat 2 bombs in very quick succession. You know what? Actually, their team has no fucking frontline tank. Where I swap to Widow, because they don't have a proper barrier. So I assume that maybe I can get a couple of quick kills. The big issue that we're facing is that no one's dealing with the Reaper, though. So there's Zuby's sub from yesterday. It's a bad miss from me. I'm just trying to pressure off the Junkrat. I don't want him spamming there. Zarya's move in very predictable ways, so the way I've learned how to headshot Zarya's is just to sort of try and predict the motions. You see the Zarya's now peel back, people die to Dragon Strike. Zarya grabbed, which is great for us. So you can see, like, that is classic Zarya. Like, Zaryas don't move in very fancy ways, they tend to just move in straight lines, and so you can generally just very easily get shots like that onto them. I'm trying to get an angle on the rat, but I can't do it. And then trying to just stop the Hanzo just corner peeking and just spamming arrows, but body blocked by Zarya. It just feels like we're not doing anything, and that's sort of what annoys me. Someone called out that the Reaper's to the right, so I just checked. But I'm just, like, this is where I start getting frustrated, because it's just like, it feels like we're just waiting for someone to push, but the tanks aren't pushing. And the tanks are Ryan and Misko, and it's like, come on, guys. You need to be doing something. So this is where I swap to just purely deal with the Reaper, because, like, they're so paranoid about the Reaper that I want to just sort of get that out of their heads. And then we can sort of worry about that. Being honest, the Junkrat should be able to handle the Reaper. Like, Reaper Junkrat is a weird matchup, but with the way the Junkrat's mines work, it should be able to just put enough damage on it to cause problems. We just need to do something. Like, we need to do something. We're just standing in the choke. Like, I need the tanks. And yeah, now you can hear me complaining about it. That we're just standing in the choke, hoping that something good happens. Nice. That was lucky as hell from Miska. Otherwise, this is just like identifying what threats I can deal with realistically. Like, that is so lucky. And then once this happens, it's like, okay, this is pure go time. I managed to stand in a position where the dragon basically goes past me. And then it's just spotting the threats in the sky and just identifying DPS threats. Like, they have no tanking, so it's not that hard to sort of just go through and clean this all up. And then, yeah. Is that Overwatch Central? That is Overwatch Central. Otherwise, I'm just trying to keep an eye on them. Like, the big thing I want to do at this point is either just keep the point clear, or just to try and, or to try and build a Deadeye. So then I can just step back and clear the point at some point. I think I get hit by a Hanzo arrow here, actually. It's what really kills me. Because this Junkrat just explodes me somehow. So I think it's a scatter or something that actually does the damage, and then Junkrat just finishes me off. And this is where I really want Deadeye, just to be able to clear the point. I don't think we can get that anymore. I'm just backing away. So yeah, like, fight's over, I'm just going to back away. And this is where I want to
We scattered through my shield.
just... Like, this is, I think, where people just get a bit overconfident. And again, this is just stupid. The Junkrat launches himself in front of the Reinhardt for no reason and dies instantaneously. And then, yeah, Ryan just backs off and I end up paying for it. It's the problem.
Okay, well, go in a bit. I guess we have some more ult to work with.
Your Overwatch is better than Overwatch Central. You're entitled to that opinion, friend.
I'm going back. Fuck this shit. Yeah, I was just hoping for the more ult to allow me to extend a bit more.
At this point, I'm just waiting for the regroup.
I guess not.
I want to be very careful about the Hanzo, so I'm not going to take too many shots. Anytime I see Hanzo, I'm just going to back away. Then wait for the Reinhardt to get in front of me. And then try and just stay behind him. Pressure down the Hanzo, who's likely to end up in the back. Gets a lucky... Scatter manages to kill Moira. Got the Reaper on the side. Then can't protect myself from that. They have a Mercy, so they start rezzing people, which is sort of the big issue. This is where our second support realizes, hey, Mercy's pretty good. And that was the grab that I was waiting for fucking ages.
No, he got bubbled!
And just taking a look. I can stall, maybe. This is just me trying to get to the point because there's 5 seconds left, but no wait. Useful. End of that game. Right. Let's do one more. Let's do this one later when we do like the stack. So this one we're playing in a 5 stack. Trying to scroll it forward. Okay. So this is when a whole bunch of us are playing in a stack, and this is probably the last one we'll take a look at. King of the Hill is where I feel most comfortable on Tracer. It's just because the sort of the deathmatchy style is easy for me. The map paths are pretty simple, and like it's easier to see what other Tracers are doing and just kind of just try and mirror them and stall them up and that kind of stuff. So yeah.
This is just like ranked.
Well, the other guy plays then.
So if you're curious who's in this one, it's me, Ryan, Miska, Mr. Animus, and Iostux. And then some guy called Casablancas who's got stuck with us a couple of times. This push, I think people just had crazy pills and just tried to do random stuff.
She's OP. She's a bit of everything.
Should really go Risa. I might do it.
Like with Tracer, so the way that this map works, right? Let me draw a schematic for it because it's pretty simple. You have the point here. You got the stairs here, so these are the stairs. Stairs. The tunnel here, right? Don't worry too much about that space. Worry more about this space. Okay, this is the death pit. And then you have like a pathway around it. Alright, and going over the top, you also have a pathway going over. Okay? Normally, the first fight happens between here and here. Right, and you got like steps here, and people are normally fighting over this space, like right above my head, in this area up here. That's where people want to fight. So what you try and do as Tracer is what you want to do is find either a way to go through this pathway, which is a little bit risky, or through this pathway back here, and try and get onto their support lines. So if your team starts pushing forward, their team pushes back into you, and you can deal a shitload of damage. I don't look behind me, because I'm assuming that my team has gone this way and is defended this way, but judging from what the comms say, that clearly hasn't happened. And so I go around here, and I think 1 or 2 people also come around this way, and it's just like, then chaos unfurls. Because their team has a similar issue. So this doesn't surprise me, where I spot the other Tracer. This is perfectly normal. I move in to take control of the health pack, I accidentally use it, but then it's like, they have a Mercy. Well, shit. Why is everyone here? And like you can hear Mist complaining, like, you went the wrong way. Where the fuck is everyone? And then by this point I'm just like, okay, I don't know what's happening. So I'm just going to put pressure on the Orisa, bully the Orisa down, kill the Orisa, but by this point she's already killed the Roadhog. Luckily the support sort of just blunder into me. I'll call out that I'm going on the Mercy, but no one else is there to help, and then during this time where I'm slept, like, it's already over.
I thought we were gonna jump back to the team, Ryan, so I just like hit shift and just flew straight into it.
I think this is also where Miska is playing Mercy, and Miska is terrible at Mercy.
Let's go, boys. It's easy win.
Mercy is dead, guys. Back off. Okay.
I need healing behind you, Stocks. Just FYI.
It's just an overbold bomb. Back off. So this is where it's like, we get the kill on Mercy, and start backing away just to regroup a little bit, and then
Never mind.
he just stays on it. And for some reason we go in. Back off. I think this is just because we were clowning a bit at this point, and then Moira ult, so it's just like, fuck it, okay, I'll go in and go for just a bold bomb and see what comes of it. Not worth. Not worth at all.
So fucking dead here.
I'm out of blink, so the Ana just gets on me, but she doesn't have the support to do it. Puts a bomb on me, back away, let it regenerate, come back in, pick up the health pack. And like, again, this is like, Reaper versus Tracer, my goal isn't necessarily to try and kill the Reaper, it's just more to keep Reaper off the tanks. Like, if Reaper's fighting me and not what he's good at fighting, then fine, but it just takes too long and there's just not enough damage on the front.
Fly it there. It's kind of necessary.
I don't have a
Like right
friggin'
fucking
clue
there.
what's happening. Oh, that's a bongo.
I'm just healing our
And it's dead.
They bongo, I back away, but they lose their barrier, bring it straight away, but then we get Nano Reapered. The Beyblade.
We just got blown back into season 2.
Trying so hard. Their Mercy and Tracer's dead. Let's go.
I almost got Valk.
Okay. We can do this. Just one like coordinated push. Okay.
Yeah. Just one.
Genji's half.
Tracer just died.
I think I'm going a bit too hard here. I think I should have just waited. Like, I should have just checked where my team was instead of just going super hard on this. Like, they're still all the way over here, and I'm going all the way onto the point. And like, while I did good damage to the Genji, Anna's already healed him up, and now I'm sort of stuck. We're at ult, so I don't recall.
Kill me, please.
Spot the Mercy out, spot the Reaper's half, try and finish him off, but Anna starts healing him, so there goes the purple darts of joy. I just back off.
I'm the only one capped.
I want to try and bait the Reaper in, but then he just blows my face off. And I think I just ended up in a stupid position there. It's a waste of a bomb. Should have just shot and waited for the fortify. Reaper's low.
Got him.
Trying to get on the healers. Anna's half. I think I just need a tiny bit more consideration on these bombs.
Alive though.
Messi gets a cheeky res off. Anna has enough time to sleep dart me, but not enough time to do much about it for a while, and then eventually does kill me, but my teams should be doing okay, but it's just like, yeah, at this point, we're just clowning a bit too much.
High noon if you can call it.
Good noise.
Okay. The rip. Okay. Yeah, I think I need to go set.
And this is just trying to stall, but it's already over.
My first. Well, I think I
For the rest of us as well.
terrible, but it's kind of. I mean,
On this point, I always struggle with what I'm doing in my opening like move. I generally just try and get out of this doorway as quickly as possible, just to try and take the space and just be out of the way a little bit. But they come through with a damage amp soldier very quickly, and I should have just picked up the large health pack instead of going in here. I think I'll wait because I just want to give the healers the charge, but I should honestly just go and pick up the health pack.
Genji's really low, or was?
And like, because we don't have a solid plan, I just play somewhat passively. On ladder, honestly, I should probably be playing a little bit passively there and not expecting the
oh my god, I can't.
the super aggro dive.
Damage. Like,
And again, this is where I sort of end up trapped. Like, most of the team's already dead because they just have a better brawling team. Our team's more pick oriented, and so we don't get picks fast enough and we just lose. Isn't good. I can stall on the point a little bit, but it's a Reaper, so like I have to use my blinks just to get there to contest, and then by that point it's just already done.
Can you rest, Miska?
yeah.
That Reaper?
Oh, maybe not.
Ana's dead.
No, I don't think I can actually.
Reaper's dead.
Nice.
Oh,
So
God.
much damage.
Yeah, I'm like constantly healing you as well.
So at this point, like I'm just looking for a flank angle. Mist goes huge. This is where like Hanzo can sometimes pay off. So he just ends up getting a couple of picks. I move on to the point just to cause problems on the point. Like honestly, this is one of the best things I found that you can do as Tracer, and this is how the pros tend to use Tracer on these maps. Is you put Tracer on the point constantly and just force them to like pull resources into it. I bomb here because I assume that it's probably going to stick on the Moira, on the Orisa. Even if she fortifies, it just puts her low enough to where it's like I can just finish her in my own time. So that one I'm not too worried about. It catches the Genji as well, which is nice as he comes around the corner. It's always a good position to be in. Then the focus just starts coming through. That was sort of off the back of 2 very quick picks from Mist, though.
Don't suck. Don't suck.
This is scouting, so I'm just trying to spot out what I can. Spot a bunch of them going through kitchen, back away.
Mercy's dead.
Someone calls out the tracers on point, so I just go and help with that. I tell Ryan to sort of just leave, let me worry about the tracer. He's actually blinked behind me. And like, while this is happening, like, advantage is sort of going towards us. And I think if Ryan just committed more on the front line, we would be in a better position.
Orisa's high ground?
Because they have like a Tracer Genji trying to dive our Winston at this point, and it's just like, no. Once the Discord all comes through, it just gets easy. That was a very bold knockback. It could have gone horribly wrong. Again, just stalling on the point, trying to get behind the Genji, get the kill on the Genji. Now, honestly, I just want them to try and come to the point, decide not to bother waiting, go in, throw a stupid bomb. Like, that bomb was terrible. Let me tell you why that bomb was fucking terrible. It's not because it missed, it's because it will never ever hit in a million years. Like, their entire team is pushing this way, so why throw a bomb behind them? I don't know. It might have caught the Tracer, if I was lucky. And then she managed to take the health pack, and down I go.
I got the Genji! Good job! I got the Tracer! No!
Oh god, Mist, Jesus. Mist almost gives Stux a bomb.
Kill anyone with it, did I?
Almost.
As long as I didn't do it.
This is where I just spot the Mercy's in a kind of a shit position. So I can just get on her. Yeah, it's stuck on her head a little bit. Team comes in to help. Good job, Casablancas. Good job to the random. And like, all I'm doing is taking the point and then playing around the Winston barrier. And it's ridiculously effective. And now it's just a case of hunt down, clean up, and then scout and get ready for the next push. Random ass Reaper ult. This is why I got super confused by this. Like, you can hear me, what the fuck? Because I don't understand why he's decided to ult over here on his own. Like, after this fight is done, he's just dropped Reaper ult for no reason. Okay. So again, this is scouting. This is just checking which direction they're going. I kind of want to stick this Winston, but I just sort of hold off for a second or two. And I think that indecision costs me. Where I think I should have just stuck him now. Like, I know where he's landing. This is predictable. And I should have just stuck him now. Instead of, like, I understand what he's trying to do, and I think we could probably kill him, but just get rid of him nice and quickly, instead of, like, half-heart it and then throw the bomb too late. But they just desperately push towards the point, and we can just take a time. Mercy reses it, but we can just body block and kill.
Genji and Tracer on me.
Because you tried to rest me, you piece of shit.
Spin around. It's not really gonna do that much, but still.
There's a Hanzo dragon there, it's not gonna do it.
Tiny bit too off. It's a little bit off. Right.
Trash at this hero, holy shit.
I believe, man. You're in
Everybody's trash at this hero, that's why she's meta.
Look, it could be worse, okay? On my support main account, I had a 19% win rate on Mercy. Let's not discuss that fact any further. Right, okay, on my support main account, I had a 19% win rate on Mercy. So what I don't want to do is just run straight in. I want to sort of take an angle that's a little bit tricky. And people still ask me to play her. I was just like, and honestly, I don't like what I've done here, to be honest. So what I don't like is that I've gone in, and it's like I've come this way to specifically avoid being stuck in like the middle of the team fight. And then first thing I do is I instantly fold in and go into the middle of the team fight. I should just stay around the outside, to be honest. I prefer the open space on the balcony side towards rather than the tight corridor here, because it's just, if someone comes up the other way and like starts spamming through, you just get stuck. Well, I'd rather be fighting out here. Get Zarya ridiculously low, but nothing comes through and Anna just heals it all up.
I hit Tracer once, I got him.
People call out the Tracer, so I swap target. Go back to hunting down the Mercy.
I hit sorry on
Like, I'm more trying to play around whatever Mist is hitting and then try and finish targets off. Like if Mist or Stux hit someone, I would try and swap towards what they were doing. It's just very easy for me to reposition.
Genji's right.
Oh, I don't know why I did that.
Yeah, just don't put
Genji is hit.
It's where Winston just overextends like crazy. It's just easy for us to clean that up.
Dead?
Winston's low.
So Zarya uses barrier, so I just get rid of it instantaneously. But you didn't like Hanzo? I don't. I hate Hanzo.
I'm ulting point middle. Winston's behind on me with Genji. I'm fucking dead.
Genji's gone big with the Dragon Blade, but honestly it doesn't matter at this point. Like, the fight's already kind of over. Like, this is a nice position to be in, because I just sort of looked at this and thought, well, like, Ryan could probably do this all on his own. Like, it doesn't really matter what happens now, because that guy's already dead, so I just help finish him off, and then it's just take my time with putting damage on Tracer.
Tracer's low, no recall. Taking the point.
Winston's low. I got Tracer.
They're wasting
On
so
Winston.
much time. It's okay. Yeah, no, we got it.
And like, that just felt really comfortable.
Miska, that was a god Valk, by the way.
It fucking sure as hell was. Okay.
Let me know.
Otherwise, it's just trying to, like, make sure that they're pinned back, keep pressure on them, build up pulse bombs.
Oh, Mercy.
If I can bait Zarya's bubbles, then great. Genji going in tunnel.
I heard that. That's why I was a bit
Zarya
worried
no
about you.
personal?
I hit Siren. I have Dragon.
I was tempted to bomb there and I held back and I don't know why. Like, in my brain it was like, you could probably bomb this. Bomb, 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 and then I don't. The Winston might have just caught it. Like, luckily the Zarya sort of obliges me.
I have Dragon.
Like, this is all I'm doing at this point, is trying to say, hey, come around the corner, and then she just goes for it, and easiest bomb of my life.
Genji's coming for you.
Okay, Twitch, come on. Jesus.
He's fine. I have Dragon.
So yeah, like, this is just baiting. Bomb. She backs off, delivers the bomb. Mercy dashes forward, Discord orbs in place, so it's just an easy kill, and then at this point, clean up.
He might have been healed.
instead.
Pretty good. Sorry, I can like.
Do you think the Tracer is overpowered since she's nearly picked in every pro match and makes it much of the top 500? Yes. It's not a huge amount of overpowered, but it's enough.
Zarya's low.
So Zarya tries to go for a big old grab, but
No, you don't.
struggling through it.
Oh, yeah, you do.
I'm just trying to keep Soldier busy while everyone else just cleans up. Stux follows up, which is great.
1 HP.
And now this is just, again, clean up.
Shield left.
Here that the Ana gets called out, so looking for the Ana. Kill the Ana.
Got him. Tracer's on me.
I want to sort of try and stay away from the Genji, but I spot that Mercy's like available, so she goes for a res. Clean that up.
Winston's really
Back away instantaneously because I don't want to get caught by a Dragon Blade.
Got Tracer. Hanzo can work, guys. I'm telling you. Against the Platinum at least.
So what I'm thinking is the big issue I face, I think, is that I don't think enough before I commit to an engage. So I don't check that people are in positions where I need them to be before I engage. I'm getting better at dealing with that. That's something I've been working on in the past, but it's usually been an issue for me. Is that I'm not checking before I sort of leap in towards their team. And so occasionally, like, they all just turn around and kill me, right? It's a pretty common problem with Tracer. Also, my pulse bombs can be a little bit too wistful at times. Like, they're just a little bit too optimistic, which isn't good. So yeah, it's like, I'd say that's my two biggest issues. Aim will come with time. I just need to keep working on it. It's not too bad. I generally can hit around 35 to 45%, which is pretty good. But I'm looking to just get better at that. Everyone should be looking to improve their aim. It's kind of obvious. But again, the biggest thing is, like, the decisions I'm making seem to be okay quite often. It's just when I'm making them that's the biggest issue. And I might need to slow down in some instances and then just bide my time a little bit more. And I think that'll work out quite nicely. Alright, if you have questions about Tracer, now is the time to ask them. So yeah, or Tracer, King of the Hill, I suppose, anything. Now's a good time for questions while I boot up Overwatch. You know, Wick is still on Oasis? Yes, I did. I had a couple of good stalls that evening. What are we looking for? Come on. Battle.net, load up. There we go. Gonna wait for Overwatch to load up. Keep him coming in. While we wait for Overwatch to load. There it is, look, it's Overwatch. Loading, slowly. What's my PC been slow lately? Right. Okay. Let's start doing some questions. Yeah. So when should you switch off Tracer? And when would Sombra be a better choice? Kind of a misleading question because they're not equivalent. In general, the way I see it myself is, okay, Tracer is pretty good universally, but in my mind, the flowchart is more like Tracer. Okay, let's actually... Tracer, Soldier, and then sort of diversify out from there. The reason why is that both fulfill kind of a hit scan role. Tracer's more proactive, but if the enemy team is playing very turtly, it can be hard to exploit with Tracer. It can be hard to actually get a lot done. So if you need a more long-range option, Soldier is usually where I go first. Sombra, generally, like, it depends on the team, but a lot of teams run Sombra as the flex support. You'd be running, like, Mercy Sombra. Do not see Sombra as like an equivalent to a DPS pick, because Sombra's DPS just isn't as good, and Sombra is better played purely around the EMP. So you're purely playing her to disable the enemy supports and disable the enemy team, and then you have Tracer Genji, for example, diving onto, or just a Genji diving onto a Zenyatta. Don't consider Sombra and Tracer as like, oh well, sometimes Sombra, sometimes Tracer, because that will just tilt your team more than anything. I'd also say that Sombra is extremely hard to make work. And with the current meta, especially with like how Mercy is at the moment as well, it's tricky. She has one of the lowest win rates in the game. She is viable, but you've got to take over your team to do it. So I hope like hell you're playing on NA, because playing on EU and trying to do it is going to be a nightmare. Otherwise, yeah, it's like, I wouldn't consider it like a better question, just to sort of adapt this question, hijack this question slightly, would be, when do you stop playing Tracer? And my answer is when you A, stop killing people, and B, like when you just, if you leave spawn, blink a couple of times and then die, and that just happens like 3 or 4 times, yeah, it's probably time that you swap off Tracer, because you're just dying and dying and dying and dying and dying, and it's not worth it anymore. You might as well do something else, because you're clearly doing something wrong, and the enemy team's just anticipating you properly and shutting you down. So yeah. Blink management, good idea if always having one for emergencies. It's a tip I got from Defran. It's like, oh, I don't like the situation, let me run. Yeah. So the strength of Tracer is that you can always leave an engagement. Like with Tracer, it's very rare that you're going to be in a fight that you can't just leave. And so your deaths as Tracer usually come like, like either you get blindsided by something, like a headshot just comes in from behind, you just go, oh, I didn't see that coming. Or it's more like, you know, they just land a rocket, or they just land some burst. So Junkrat lands a pill, Soldier lands a rocket, Reaper lands a headshot, Roadhog lands a right click. Something like big and chunky just sort of bursts you, and you just go, oh, right. If you're ever in a situation where you are out of blinks, like that's your cue to start leaving. So, I mean, the way that I see it is you have like your 3 blinks plus recall. You want to try and use up your 3 blinks and then recall, and then by the time your recalls come back, you generally have like 2 blinks. And then by the time the second blink is gone, you have either won the fight or you are exiting. You don't want to be in... Like, if you feel you're outnumbered, you feel threatened, just leave. Because you can. Like, no one can keep pace with Tracer. So, yeah. Like, having that spare blink is always going to be very important. Or having, like, the exit strategy. The only time you should commit it is if you are capable of making a big trade. Like if you're capable, in current meta, for example, pre-Mercy nerf, of killing their Mercy, trading Tracer for Mercy is worth. So stuff like that. What's better, Tracer following the Winston's lead or a flanky Tracer? Tracer following Winston's lead in general. If you are playing a dive style, that is. So if you are playing dive, the reason why is Winston's leap is on a 6-second cooldown. Tracer's blink is, I'm actually not sure on the number, but it's faster, let's put it that way. Like, you have more mobility. Tracer is more mobile than Winston. So basically, if Winston's trying to follow Tracer, then Tracer can blink in, Winston follows, and then Tracer goes, oh shit, wait, this is wrong, and then has to blink away. It's much easier for the Tracer to adapt to what Winston's doing, because once Winston's in, Winston is in, and he stays in. So when Winston commits, he commits hard. Now, the ideal positioning is, like, let's just draw out a piece of terrain. So this is a piece of terrain. Enemy team is stood here. And that's the enemy team. Most of your team is stood here. Okay, this is your team, this is the enemy team. up here. Ideally, you want to be coming in from a position like this, or your team pushes in like this. And so what ends up happening is the enemy team retreats back towards you. It's the easiest way to kill someone is when they're like backing away from a threat and are busy with a threat. And this is what started to happen with me and Mist, is I would just play around. Mist would focus a target. I would just get behind the target, let them back away from Mist on Genji, and I would just kill them. And it was super, super effective. It's the ideal situation. So as Tracer, you generally want to be coming in from angles where you, like, the Winston is pushing them back towards, because people generally back away from Winstons. They back away into your guns, they're just going to die. So that's sort of the ideal. You should generally just be nipping around on the flanks while waiting for Winston to set up, but you should be in a position to follow up when Winston jumps in, is the big thing. Notice you run straight at them quite often. Am I wasting time by going around to strike from behind? Not necessarily. I think it's just because I trusted in my dive, like I was with the people who I was often engaging with, so I knew that Winston and D.Va, for example, would be going in, or in other maps cases, it would be Genji, Tracer. Like, we'd be going in together and sort of focusing on something. It might just be my attack angles are slightly wrong. I honestly couldn't tell you straight offhand. I think it's just be more... like, just be aware of if you are dying because you're just... they see you coming and shoot you. That's bad. That's really bad. So yeah, be careful of that. In case of bomb... in case of no bomb, focus Mercy or D.Va is your 4 playstyle. The issue I have with focusing D.Vas is D.Vas have armor, so like the 200 armor and defense matrix can cause problems, and you'll generally drain the D.Va by focusing Mercy anyway. So D.Va's playstyle, especially at higher levels, is that D.Va, like the team will be here, D.Va will be sort of part of the team, and then the main tank will be more forward. And so the D.Va's job, like if you go in on the Mercy, the D.Va's job will be to shield the Mercy. And then from there you can sort of just adapt and do whatever you like. If you... in general, I'd say try and just... drill the Mercy as much as possible until you get to about 50%, then just build a pulse bomb and just bomb things. Like, just playing purely around pulse bombs I don't think is as strong as playing partially around pulse bombs and partially around just the ability to either 1-clip or 2-clip things. Like, ideally you should be going into that 2-clip range. Like, it should take you 2 clips to kill something. 1-clipping is a bit difficult, 2-clipping just feels more realistic. Basically means you're killing things in 3 seconds, which is hard to deal with. How to deal with a problematic Tracer, teamwork, strat, and solo. As a team, play closer together. D.Va block the first salvo of damage, and then after that, like, people can turn around and just kill her. McCree is somewhat effective, but honestly I prefer Soldier, just because you put, like, Tracer goes in, you put down a heal field, makes the Tracer's life extremely hard, you have reliable damage, rocket to finish her off, it's pretty easy to do. You can also play from a long range. McCree just sort of forces the Tracer to try and bait the flash before he can do anything, and that's not too hard. It's an issue, but it's not impossible. Like, Tracer versus Tracer is another good way of dealing with it, so you just set Tracer to catch Tracer, so if you see that their Tracer's going in a lot, or, like, causing you problems, you just use your Tracer, and if your Tracer's better, you can just sort of kill them, or you just use Zenyatta, orb on your Tracer, orb on the enemy Tracer, and just win. It's a very good way of doing it. It's a good time investment to learn a hero which counters your main to learn the matchup. For example, learning Tracer to help killing her as Zenyatta. Yes. Playing a hero helps you beat the hero, certainly. Learning it as a main, maybe not, but like adding Tracer to your list of heroes that you play is not a bad idea. She's very versatile, she fits in a large number of comps, and she's been in the meta since the start of the game, more or less. So it's like, you aren't wasting your time with that one. Certainly more viable than learning Hanzo, or learning Torbjorn, or Mei. So if you play Zenyatta and Tracer, I think that's okay. It doesn't have the greatest overlap, but you'll learn the Zen Tracer matchup, and what you'll learn is that the way you beat Tracer is you just aim head height and just spam. You just got to learn the routes that she takes and then just try and catch her. And I mean, when you're playing Tracer against Zenyatta, like, the Tracer should be nervous. You feel nervous because you have Discord Orb on you and it just takes a headshot and like a tiny bit more damage and you will die. So you want to be really careful. Whenever I try to play Tracer in a high grounding map, I run into issues like you had on Dorado. It takes a long time to walk to the high ground. If someone spots me on route, I'm screwed. There are many of people who advocate learning Tracer is universally good, but I just can't work on maps like that. I struggle with it as well. I think the thing is you just got to be patient and find the angles. It's just a case of like what I would recommend is watch the Overwatch League in the coming week, we could still be balls deep in a Widowmaker meta, so anything could happen. If we are, and it's because it's on LAN, you might not actually see much Tracer. You might see a lot of Tracer, you might not see much. It depends on how people feel in Widow versus Tracer, because the Widowmakers will be landing shots a lot more reliably because of the 0 ping and higher tick rate. So that honestly like pushes things more towards the Widowmakers. It'll be interesting to see. My advice is still, like, do not be afraid to take your time to get into an angle. The biggest issue I had was I just didn't blink in aggressively enough to follow up with my tanks, and so I just got stuck out in the open and killed. And it's like, you don't want to be slowly moving while enemies are shooting at you. If enemies are shooting at you, it's time to back away off, just wait for a better angle. There's also options on Dorado where you can either just go through the main choke as well and just go round, and that could work very nice as well. And just put damage in from that side and then just back away if they come down towards you. And so they have to sort of wrap around past you to get to where they want to defend from, so you can do a lot of damage that way. I really struggled to kill Anna's Tracer in 1v1. It's a case of just missing too much. She always grenades herself, then I have to back off because I can't do enough damage. So Anna has like 3 steps to her. Step 1, with Anna, you engage and she will sleep. You'll try and sleep dart you. Try and dodge your sleep dart. I need to get better at that, clearly. As you saw in the previous game, I got slept about 4 times. Not good. So he'll try and sleep dart you. Then you'll get her to about 100 hit points and she will grenade. The key here is do not get hit by the grenade. If you get hit by the grenade, you're in a lot of fucking trouble. And then after that, you just kill. From that point on, you're looking for the kill. Now, if she does grenade you, recall straight away. It's a shitload of damage. You can't afford to take that damage. Just recall, get out. Well, don't get out. You can go for the kill still, but just be careful, basically. If she's being healed by someone else, if she has like a mercy plugged into her and she hits herself with a grenade, then back out, like retreat. The grenade, like if she's isolated, then she can't heal herself anymore, so you just follow up. Or she's being healed and she's being healed a lot, so you just got to back away and sort of go away from it. Try and find whatever's healing her, harass that instead, stuff like that. When do you not run Tracer when she's not hard counted? Like, when is Tracer hard counted? Is my question. It's very hard to hard counter a Tracer. You think there should be a change to Pulse Bomb to where it doesn't kill you like Junkrat's Tire? No. The reason why Junkrat got changed to not take damage from his own explosions was because it's too easy for Winston to put a bubble down in front of Junkrat, and then he would take a shitload of damage. Or like you're trying to fight tanks as Junkrat and you just blow yourself up more often than not, back when that change existed. With Tracer, there's no excuse. Like, you can recall, you can blink, there's tons of ways to get out of your own splash. It's okay. There's no, like, Pulse Bomb's radius is not big anyway, so being hit by your own Pulse Bombs is usually your own fault. It happens to everyone, but it's usually your own fault. It's usually you fucked up. So yeah, to follow up on this hard counter question, like I said before, like, you just go to the usual signs that something isn't working. So stuff like you are just dying a lot, you aren't getting many kills, you aren't seeming to do much damage. Tracer should very rarely be topping the damage charts in my mind. She can do a lot, but it's very hard to sort of get that huge output out. Someone whispered me, I think. No, it's just Mrs. logged on. So yeah. Also practice Tracer and quick play, set myself specific goals, finish target even if it kills you, or survive. Survive is a good one. Like, just not dying is honestly quite difficult to do. But basically what you should be doing is you should be doing these goals and then just trying to incorporate more and more damage as you do them. So it's just trying to get better and better and better at dealing damage. The big thing that I would say as well in like goals like that when you're playing around quick play is like, in this game I am just going to fight mercies, like I'm just going to hound the supports. I'm just going to make the supports as miserable as possible in this game. And try that, and see how that goes. Okay, in this game, I'm going to try and harass the Roth tank, and just build up pulse bombs and bomb people, and practice getting my pulse bombs down. I want to hit every pulse bomb, so let's try and get that down. Like, going into quick play games with very clear goals like that can work out quite nicely. Finish targets even if it kills you, I don't think is a good idea. I think that you should be trying to survive as much as possible, however. Don't try and get into a sort of slow... Yeah, just don't try and get, like, don't get caught into this idea of, like, a slow trade, basically, where if you're trading DPS for DPS, losing Tracer is actually quite bad, because she's a good source of damage, she can pressure her all over the map. You don't want to be doing that. Trading Tracer for support can be worthwhile, it just depends on their mercy, but especially with how Mercy is at the moment, trades have been reduced in value. So it's not the best idea unless you're killing Mercies. Sombra on Volskar and Temple of Anubis. Yep. I put a lot more time into Tracer, but my aim kind of sucks. Any tips on how to improve? Any good affordable mouse recommendations? There's plenty of them out there. I would just browse forums. Like I use a Corsair RGB K70 or no RGB G something or other. It's a nice enough mouse. It's a claw grip mouse though. What I would do is figure out what your grip is on a mouse. So I think I'm either half claw or claw. Claw is when like basically it's to do with the points of contact. So most people hold mice with 3 fingers, right? That's a claw grip. When your points of contact are basically just your thumb and your 2 fingers, and maybe like this part of your hand. That's sort of the half claw. That's what more or less what I do when I hold my mouse. Is I have a half claw. So my points of contact are primarily my fingers, but I also have like the back of my hand at the back of the mouse. Some people paw the mouse, which is basically where you have your entire hand is just flush with the mouse, or you have the claw. So figure out what grip is yours, and then try and find mice that suit that. So like the Logitech and even Microsoft style mice are more suited for palm grips, and then claw grips are more like your Corsairs and stuff. Figure out what that is, figure out what your grip is, look online, browse around, try and find stuff. What's Tracer's worst enemy? There's a number of them. I'd say shit that scares me most. It's honestly usually stuff like Hanzo's. Hanzo and Junkrat is what I would say. It's just because they're unpredictable. Like I have no idea if I'm gonna be able to dodge them or if I'm gonna get hit, and that's just very, very frustrating. It's like I can't reliably figure out what I'm gonna do. Junkrat's just a pain in the ass and can kill you so reliably that it's like, ugh, this is impossible. So yeah. I'd say Lucio is also somewhat frustrating as well, because he's hard to kill and he will make your life a lot harder in trying to kill people. Luckily, Lucio's out of meta right now, so it's okay. What is the best way to fight Rat on Tracer? Current choice is swap, avoid engaging and catching by surprise. If you bait out both of his mines, then you can just kill him, usually. Like, it's very... So the thing with Rats is they'll try and mine, and then, especially with Tracer, they'll just try and double mine. Otherwise, they generally just sort of spam towards you, and they're just trying to fill the area up with mine damage. So, like, if you're fighting in this space, they're going to try and fill this space with damage and cause problems for you. So what you want to do is actually get past them and out of the space that they're trying to fill with damage, and then just blink around them as much as possible. Once the double mine combo is down, their hitbox, like Junkrat's hitbox, is actually more like, it's like this. His head's like this. It's actually very, very easy for Tracer to just put crosshairs in the middle, and then that'll just kill him. Like, he's got a big head, he's got a very, very solid boxy shape, like a big rectangle. So it's actually very easy to get a lot of damage on him, compared to something like, you know, Moira. Moira's just like a pencil, or like a lollipop. Right, that's much harder. Junkrat's much more this shape, so it's a lot easier. It's basically just dodge his initial damage and then try and get the damage out. What would you do to make Sombra better? Are you fine with her being highly team dependent? I'm okay with her being as she is. Well, honestly, what I would like is just to push her away from the EMP dependence, so that she isn't occupying the flex support spot anymore. So just reduce the charge time for EMP, because the way it works now is that anytime Sombra's in meta, she's just like every single fight is just, oh well, they have EMP. Like that's how it at least works in the pro scene. Is they just EMP, EMP, EMP every single fight, and it's just really boring. So I'd like to see it pushed away from that more. So basically the way I see heroes usually is like they have a number of points to spend, and it's like, you know, mobility, defense, ult, stuff like that. And they like have points to spend, and like Sombra has gone like 5 in mobility, 0 defense, and 5 in ult. And just like damage as well. And maybe like 1 point in damage or something. Like, in terms of percentages, I suppose. It's more like Sombra is very, very ultimate heavy. And so I'd like to see her, the ultimate, sort of get nerfed and more shifted towards her left click. Sort of popping out stealth, killing off a support, and then running away. Play more in damage. How do I do a Tracer as a tank? Stay near, like, get healed if you lose your armor. And then don't let her flush you. If you're playing Roadhog, wait for a blink, hook, right click. Like, just she will blink, so she will be blinking pretty aggressively against Roadhogs as well, like just to try and be unpredictable. So you just want to wait for a blink and then try and damage it where she comes out. The more times she's blinking, the less time she's damaging you, and then when she's out of blink, she has to recall. If you're playing Zarya, just be very, very aware that once your personal barrier is down, she can really shred you fast, so you got to be very careful. Just try and left-click her to death as best as possible. Divas, just defense matrix as much damage as you can. Protect your supports. Once your armor is gone, just get healed up. Just rocket away, get healed up, no problem. It's easy. Reinhardt, just let your team deal with it. Orisa, just try and pull her around occasionally, but honestly, again, you attack way too slow to deal with a Tracer, so just don't deal with it, basically. So she blinks in to try and kill you, just fortify, so she doesn't headshot the shit out of you. She'll be okay. Winston, you just want to put harass damage on her, but like, don't get pulled into the trap of like jumping into the backline and then fighting Tracer a bit and then jumping even further into the backline, because you'll never keep up with her. She will just blink away from you every single time. So you can discourage, but it's very rare that you'll kill a Tracer. When you pick Genji over Tracer as a form of executioner. I'd say Genji, like Hollywood Second Point, for example, any time where it's more vertical. Hollywood Second Point, Dorado, stuff like that, usually is where Genji will fare better, just because he can get to that high ground position super easily. With Tracer, for example, on Dorado Second, like if this is the courthouse, this is the balcony, you either have the choice of, like, as Tracer, you have the choice of you can either try and come through the courthouse, which is bad because you're basically coming out in front of the enemy team, or you have to go all the way through the bank and then come out the back and try and pressure the enemy team that way. And even then, it's like a very narrow space, and once you get knocked off it, it's hard to get back up onto it. So my advice would be, like, that's where Genji's is just a little bit stronger, or like even just opting instead, maybe putting a soldier over here and playing Pharah soldier or something like that. Or this is why Widowmaker is so important on this point, because you just like plonk Widowmaker here, and then you just have control of like all the space. So yeah, it's pretty good. You put Widow there, or you just put Widow here, and you can see both exits. The only blind exit is this one, and even that comes out in front of Widow, so it's pretty difficult to push out with a Widow. But that's difficult. So, like, verticality, 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 verticality. 3 seconds for blink, yep. Is Genji a better pick over... Like, the thing is, I'm worried about saying, like, a definite thing of, like, yeah, it's about... It's like, oh, it's about 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and then people are like, no, it's 3 seconds, you idiot, don't you know anything? It's like, come on. Is Genji a better pick over Tracer and High? Yeah, there you go. How do you prioritize bombs, considering ease of sticking? If you can blow a tank up, blow a tank up. Otherwise, Mercies are easier to stick than you would think. Because in general, Mercies will dash towards a nearby target. So when you're engaging on a Mercy, like if their team is over here and Mercy's back here healing them, Mercy will just naturally Guardian Angel this way. So if you throw the bombs just in front of her, she'll generally just pick it up. Mercies are pretty easy to stick. Zenyatta's is actually low priority because you can usually just kill them. Anna's, if you can stick them, stick them. Now, basically, if you can stick the support, but don't be afraid to just bomb a tank. The big thing with bombing tanks is just make sure that you are there to follow up and kill it. Don't just let the tank get healed up. That's bad. How do you deal with McCree in 1 versus 1s? Bait flash and then hope, basically. It's difficult because, basically, McCree, once flat, like, he has a... So I'm going to draw a boob, I'm sorry. But this is the zone of exclusion, right? If you get into this and he flashbangs you, you're dead. So what you do is you blink in and then you can blink back out and he flashes and whatever. Or you blink in, you blink, and if he hasn't flashed by then you've got to blink again. And you're basically just trying to play around, like you're basically playing chicken with each other on who's going to blink first, basically. Who's going to flashbang, who's going to recall. Because if you recall and he hasn't flashbanged, you're in trouble. Once the flashbang is down, McCree has a relatively stocky hitbox, like McCree's more this shape. And you just like aim here, and it's easy to kill him, because he's quite big and stocky. It's just a case of like, you just got to keep avoiding, because if he lands 2 shots, you will die, pretty much. It's... And I know before someone says, but McCree does 70 damage, so 2 shots, like, it's very easy to take 10 damage from something, or he'll just headshot and body shot, or whatever. Like, 2 shots will put you out. So you've got to be very, very careful, and you just got to, once the flashbang is gone, just kill him fast. It's usually not that hard because he doesn't have high mobility outside of that, so you can generally do it. It's just difficult. Do you recommend your 4 playstyle or Dante based around one clip shooting squishies? Dante. Especially if you're a ladder hero. Your 4's playstyle is more like what you're describing to me with your 4 playstyle is the idea that you're blowing tanks up more and just bombing key targets at key times. That requires more team synergy. While with Dante's style, the idea of just going to the backline, killing a support with left clicks, like that's much more reliable on the ladder. TVT tips. I'm way out of the meta. Way out of the meta for StarCraft 2, so I couldn't tell you Terran versus Terran. No, Tracer versus Tracer. Try and have an Orba Discord. If you don't, you've got problems. Let them try and blink first, but it's literally... It's very, very, very hard. Tracer is very much not meta in Triple Tank. Teams still run her. Like, teams did still run her. It wasn't optimal, but she did exist. But she's... Like, in Triple Tank didn't last as long as some of the other metas. She's been in for a long time. Is my hero pool fine if I could play Widow and all supports and tanks? No. Because you don't have a good all-round DPS. Widow is somewhat of a back pocket pick. And you will run into the issue, I can see it already, if you pick Widow and people check your profile, and because if you're a support player, I guarantee that Mercy's probably your highest played this season. If not, then congratulations, you've dodged it somehow. But people go, oh my god, why is a Mercy playing Widow? And then they'll tilt. And that's fucking annoying. And I've already answered that. What's your favourite Tracer skin? I like this one a lot, actually. Rose probably is my favourite, though. If I go here. So I'm looking forward to Year of the Dog. Because this is a really nice skin. Better both his minds? Right, yeah, I know. You'll be surprised though, you blink forward, sometimes Junkrat's just like spam them out desperately. Tracer versus Moira, she never flipping dies. Yeah, like Moira generally just stays off Tracer, but you can generally just go and find something else to kill. Like, you are generally not looking to kill the Moira. If you are looking to kill a Moira, the best way to do it is just to blink up right next to her and just try and drill her with as much damage as possible, and then go from there. But if Moira's like at medium range from you, she's just right-clicking, evading, fade, dodge, and she'll just like heal orb if she's in trouble. It's not easy. ODM is Tracer versus Zarya. I have the hardest time with her versus other tanks. Same place as everywhere else, just aim for the neck. It's really like Zarya is huge. Her hitbox is enormous. She's got like a little bubble head, and then like Zarya is like this, right? And if you just aim here, so like half your shots are headshots and half of them are body shots, and just land every hit, you'll watch her shields just go and in one clip, and then her hit points just go in this next, and you'll just 2-clip her. So if you consider the fact that like if you're killing Zenyatta in 2 clips and killing Zarya in 2 clips, is there really a difference between them? Like at the end of the day, what it all comes down to is not DPS necessarily; it's time to kill. Like the amount of clips it takes to kill. So if you need 2 clips to kill Zenyatta and 2 clips to kill Zarya, sure, or like 3 clips to kill Zarya. It doesn't matter that Zarya has twice as many hit points. You don't need twice the time to kill her because her hitbox is so much bigger, so it's just so easy to kill her. So that's sort of what you try and prioritize with Zarya. You just want to land all the damage that you can. Let's go by, I said stick D.Va because Mercy can't res her and then just kill everything else. Thoughts? Demacking D.Vas is very, very useful. It's a matter of, like, you get used to Mercy's behaviors, and sticking Mercy's is not necessarily that difficult. The thing you don't want to do is go for desperation stuff. Like, don't do this where, like, their team is here, Mercy is here, and you, like, blink all the way through their team and then try and stick her. The way you stick Mercy's is if Mercy's here and their team is here and you come in from the side, then you just throw the bomb here. Because she will naturally Guardian Angel forward, go into the bomb, and die. If you can demat the D.Va, then sure. I mean, he's absolutely right in saying that D.Va is high priority to stick because, like he says, you can't res a D.Va mech. But be careful with, like, what I would be careful with is absolutes. Don't think in absolutes. Don't think I can't stick Mercies ever. There are going to be opportunities where you could do it, and if you can do it, do it. It's just learning what those opportunities look like, and those opportunities look like the situation that I described. In general, sticking to D.Va, and don't be, like, if you see D.Vas on, like, 300 hit points, and you just want to get rid of it, and then get rid of it. Like, just put the bomb on her back. It's easy. And it's reliable is the big thing. And then it gives you more room to play around as well. But if you are in a position where it's like, I have a pulse bomb and I can see the Mercies sort of just on the back line going back and forth, healing in front of me, and you blink forward, bomb, one and done. It's just a matter of creating those opportunities. It's area bubble, wait 1 second, stick the bubble. Can work. It's hard to get off though, is what I find. Like if you get it wrong, it's super fucking embarrassing. What healer works best with Tracer, Zenyatta? How did your logo come into being? I'm guessing that's at me. Me. I think this is it. Netrunner. Self-modifying code. I used to play a game called Netrunner, which is a really fun card game made by Fantasy Flight Games. And this was one of the images into it, and it always really stuck with me. We actually get the full image. Self-modifying code. I go to images. And I really like the image. And so for a while I used this as my logo. But this is a copyrighted piece of art. So as the channel got bigger and bigger and bigger, I had to make something of my own. So basically what I did was I found a Lotus stencil that was fucking free to use. Used that, recolored it, and made it into this. Like, I really like the sort of the digital Lotus though. And so I've just always kind of stuck with it. I like the colors. I like the color scheme. It's unique compared to a lot of channels. Especially Overwatch channels, which are predominantly white, green, and white, orange, or like gold and black. Overwatch Central, Euro Overwatch. Unit loss is white, blue, and gold these days, or white, blue, and yellow. Like white and yellow is sort of pops up everywhere. So having white, pink, and purple actually is really unique. It's really easy to spot something that's mine amongst other people's. So yeah, that's sort of where it comes from. Who else is hard to kill for Tracer to kill other than Lucio and Moira without bomb? Lucio and Moira. Like, Anna's somewhat tricky because she just has annoying self-heal. Bastion's pretty easy. Diva's pretty easy. Doomfist is super easy. Genji's somewhat tricky. And so, like, what I'll do is say if they're easy or hard to kill, regardless of their output. So this is like easy, 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 hard, easy, easy, moderate. Hard, easy, easy if she's on the ground, easy, 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 moderate, moderate, easy, moderate, easy. Actually, Widow's not too bad. Easy, easy, and easy. That's not the clearest in the world. Basically, the people that are difficult generally. So Genji has like a lot of defensive options. Is very mobile. It's kind of tricky just to get him in under 2 clips. Anna has like a very strange, like with Anna, her hitbox is small because she hunches, so Anna's like head is here and then like her body's like this, and then like her gun's like this, and so to get into her, like, and to get into her head, you have to like be hitting here, and that requires you to get very close, which is a pain in the ass because she sleeps you or she grenades, and it's blech. Like Hanzo is annoying to fight, but if you could just get into him and deal damage, he'll drop like a fucking stone. Lucio's just very mobile, and his hitbox like whizzes around when he especially goes left and right. His hitbox really shifts. Mercy's just a fucking, again, like a lollipop. Moira's a lollipop. Pharah, when she's on the ground, is a fucking triangle, so Pharah looks like this, which is easy. Sombra kind of is the same, like most of the slender women. The exception is Widow. And the reason why Widow's an exception is Widow is basically like an eye shape with a booty. Okay? And so the way that Widow works, though, is that she generally moves very slowly and very predictable, so it's actually very easy to just get in and then you're just basically firing damage up and down her body. That's pretty easy. Well, with Mercies, they're generally like bouncing around a lot more. They'll just jump around and then fly off. Moira's will bounce around, jump around, that kind of stuff. Sombras will do the same. Well, Widow is a lot more stationary and like moves very slowly because she's usually just trying to bring up and try and headshot you. So that's what I'd say about that. We'll do 1 or 2 more. We've been doing a lot of questions now. Screams Tony play, I play Genji, Tracer Soldier, stuff like Tracer Tits as a Surefall playstyle, which I do sadly. It's high octane gameplay. Yeah, in that case, just build bombs, coordinate with your team, try and get a little bit of damage on the tanks, and then blow the tanks up. Simple. Favorite runner and favorite corp? Favorite corp was Jinteki. I used to play a Jinteki shell game, and I fucking loved it. Everyone hated playing against it, but I loved playing Jinteki shell games. So yeah, I think that'll do it. Yeah, that's all the questions. Right, thank you for watching to the end. This has been me watching your full playstyles Mercy Focus. Okay, well then, just grind down the Mercies. Just do not be afraid to bomb tanks. Like, bombing tanks and killing a tank is huge. It's like, Reinhardt's out of meta. If Reinhardt ever comes back into the meta as Tracer, abuse the shit out of him, make him uncomfortable, and then just put a bomb. Like, anytime you have a bomb, just bomb the Reinhardt. Because their team's going to have to be playing a style that suits being behind the Reinhardt. If you delete the Reinhardt barrier, your team has a huge advantage. Especially in Rein versus Rein. So yeah. Jideki is so pain. It's so much fun. So much fun. I will not explain Netrunner, but it's super fun. It's like pulling teeth for the enemy, because they're just like, they spend so much time trying to get through and trying to play, and then you just turn it over and it's just like, yeah, it's not gonna work. You've made the wrong choice. You've chosen poorly. Anyway, thank you for watching to the end of the coaching session. I've been Josh's one voice amongst many. I will see you, well, tomorrow if you are coming back for more coaching. I'm going to play some Overwatch. I'll try and play some with Ryan. Yeah. NMS, but particularly difficult for Tracer. Dorado I find quite tough. So, I'd say Dorado. Hollywood as well can be a little bit tricky in places. But I will continue playing a little bit of Overwatch. I'll try and grab Ryan and see if we can play some with Ryan still. Then let me ask you, are you up for some games? Otherwise, thank you. And hey, thank you to the blue. The blue tea. Right, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, YouTube! Boom, YouTube's gone.